Hello everyone, I'm Exodus, IAU Astronomy Education Coordinator, and also the National Outreach Coordinator from Hong Kong. Today my sharing will be related to one of my projects called the STEM+A Astronomy. It's actually astronomy-oriented projects applying in STEAM education to motivate students to think out of the box, integrating science with arts, and also to explore different subjects and disciplines in their daily learning. So we call it interdisciplinary learning and approaches. Actually, how could we motivate students on learning STEAM, astronomy STEAM education through to learn astronomy with more supports and innovative methods? And we really wish to motivate students on learning. So this is the abstract, and please feel free to watch it if you have time. And there are a lot of details if you are interested to know more about the whole project. And actually, we do have engaged in different activities and festivals. For example, the Dusk and Quiet Skies Awareness Month, 100 Hours of Astronomy, International Observe the Moon Night, Global Astronomy Month, International Day of Light, and International Dark Sky Week. And there are more and more international festivals and global events to gather a lot of astronomers to interact with each other and allowing us to have some feedbacks and interactions to know more about science. So the STEM+A at Astronomy project is actually an interdisciplinary project to try to promote polar science and dark sky awareness to the general public. So as you can see from the global map, you could clearly find out that there's a really spiked spot here. So it's actually the Hong Kong. You can I remember that there's a picture that you could clearly see it from the NASA space shuttle, and you could figure out that especially in Hong Kong there are a lot of light pollution issues in the Asian countries. So what about teaching astronomy by building blocks? So traditionally we're always thinking about building telescope making or using some high-tech software and programs allowing students to learn it to contribute it. However, especially for primary students, not many schools may starting with BIOD, bring your own device, but it might be relatively challenging for students to really require them to use a lot of high-tech technologies in order to study science or to contribute to learning the progress of astronomy. So building blocks could allow you to make 3D models with low tech requirements. You don't really need much knowledge base about science without any science background, or allowing you to have some chances for creative thinking, for team cooperations, and to customize the learning of shapes, colors, to design different things. So you could build anything by using blocks on astronomy. For example, Astroman as a virtual character for our STEM+A Astronomy project in the science communication. So we could use some nano blocks or Legos or related blocks or bricks to build anything, to build a smaller size prototype. So we tried out some pixel art by digital apps to build a prototype, and we built a bigger, larger scale model. We can also demonstrate the process of space exploration. As you can see in the picture, it's actually the Apollo missions, Saturn V rockets, and you can see it with different stage. We could separate it and we could use it for demonstrating the process of space exploration. How could people come to the moon and return to the Earth? Demonstrate complicated structures. It's really helpful if we are using some blocks. Besides that, there's STEM+A Astronomy. We can use some blocks to build different astronautical, space science related objects for demonstration to allow students to know more about some latest space science developments. However, if we focus on astronomy, one example about the space suits, as we all know that it's really complicated. There are a lot of different structures and labels for the spacesuits. So actually, there are some models. I've contributed a model of the astronaut model to demonstrate it touchable. So it's touchable, allowing students to touch it, to move it, to feel it. A multi-sensory learning progress, experiential learning progress, allowing students to learn to know different parts of it. So I think it's really interesting to students to have a new insight to know more about the spacesuit rather than traditionally with some labeled diagrams or some 2D radio playing. I think it's more and more hands-on contribution for students in their daily learning. Besides that, we could demonstrate some process and precautions before setting up a real telescope. So it's actually a reflecting telescope model. It's really functional. So of course you couldn't see anything through the eyepieces, but it's really structured. It's based on the actual scale of a real reflecting telescope. So allowing students really operating the equatorial mount and also with different structure, tripods, you can really operate it before to know more about different parts of it. For example, some important things such as adding the rates before setting up the telescope, how to point the polaris by using the equatorial mount. So there are a lot of different knowledge. We could use a real model, but a smaller model, a more flexible model, portable model, allowing students to have a first impression to understand how to operate a telescope before really constructing a real telescope for understanding. Of course, we could also use some blocks for design thinking to build a real telescope, real refracting telescope to allowing students to think of the user-centered design, building different shape, different color, different diameters, so they could have a chances to really hands-on to understand the optical phenomenon and the physics behind the physics knowledge behind using the lens. How can we see some image that is magnified? Because in general studies in primary school, actually there are some topics about refracting and reflecting. So allowing students to have some basic understanding, applying them into the astronomy education lessons to learn more about it. And besides, we could try to modify different versions. So design thinking is actually a problem-solving progress to allow you to design something, and you try to modify it for a better version with making some improvement with advanced model. So our future plan is actually with 3 main points. The first one is science communications to promote popular science with multisensory experience and visualization of science. For example, astro music, STEM experience, and more interesting activities to allow people to engage. Another one would be interdisciplinary education to allow students to learn astronomy by design thinking. And the third one is really important. We call it simplify as ideas, inclusion, diversity, equity, access, and special education to provide some customized 3D tactile models to prototyping some complicated 3D models to allow students to really engaging in learning astronomy by hands-on experience, by building blocks. No, they don't really have to, they don't really need to have some really strong scientific backgrounds or curiosity about science, but they can really enjoy in learning science. So this is my email and my and our podcast QR code to our website. Please feel free to contact us if you are interested in our project. And if you'd like to know more about our project, please feel free to contact me. And I'm Exodus, and thank you everyone for watching this video. And I really wish that you will like this and you will have some know more about science. And if you are really interested in learning astronomy, or if you are really try to find out some interesting learning process about STEAM astronomy, please feel free to contact me. And this is my sharing. Thank you, everyone.